Hope you enjoy listening to the story. My roommate considers herself the female lead in a romance novel. She smashed a Porsche 911 parked on the side of the road. She said that the CEO would definitely be attracted to a poor but strong girl like her. She deliberately made an appointment to meet the car owner at the hotel, insisting that she would repay him with her body. Unexpectedly, the car owner not only did not love her, but also demanded compensation for the expensive repair costs. She panicked and left my personal information. From then on, everyone thought I was the one who wrecked the car. I was called a mistress, kept in the dark, and even had my photo edited. The car owner's wife came to my door and stabbed me more than a dozen times. I lay in a pool of blood, bleeding to death. Before I closed my eyes, I saw my roommate laughing happily. When I opened my eyes, I was back to the day she was about to destroy that Porsche. That's how it's written in novels. The male lead has been through a lot of love, but in the end he falls in love with an innocent and naive girl. Tell me, if I smash that car, will the CEO still love me? I held my breath, quietly listening to every word she said. My heart couldn't help but tremble. In her previous life, Lai Mongmong also wanted to smash that Porsche. I kindly advised her, but she accused me of deliberately hindering her path to promotion. She thought I was jealous and didn't want her to find her true love. After she personally wrecked the car, and the car owner came looking for her, she turned around and blamed me. They said I was greedy and wanted to rely on rich people, so I wrecked my car. My personal information was leaked. Every day, people came to the dormitory to throw paint on me and call me a mistress. I was so miserable that I couldn't go out during the day, but I had no evidence to prove my innocence. I was about to speak up. Of course, that's how novels are written. The male and female protagonists need fate to meet, and this car is your fate. Hearing me say that, Lai Mongmong became even more enthusiastic, glancing at me smugly. Even a cannon fodder like you is sensible, so I feel even more at ease. Rest assured, when I marry the CEO, I will definitely invite you to celebrate with a drink. You probably can't even afford a glass of wine, but I can be merciful and let you drink a few more sips. She was still the same as in her previous life, deliberately covering her face with a scarf before making her move. According to her, it was to maintain a sense of intimacy, making it easier to attract the male lead's attention. This time I stepped forward to stop Lai Mongmong, held her hand tightly, and looked at her with sincerity. When you cover your face like this when you crash the car, what if the CEO mistakes the person? Li Mengmeng hesitated a bit. There are many cases of mistaken identity in novels. I immediately raised my phone and turned on the camera to point at her face. Mengmeng, I'm here to protect you. The CEO won't mistake the person, so you can rest assured and take action. Li Mengmeng casually picked up a brick from the side of the road, weighed it in her hand for a moment, then threw it straight at the Porsche. As expected of a luxury car, a brick hitting it only cracked the glass a few times. I think that's enough. What if the car owner asks you to pay compensation? I raised my phone to record a video while pretending to be worried and trying to persuade him. Hearing me say that, Li Mengmeng glanced at me uncomfortably. The male lead asking the female lead to compensate was just an excuse to start a conversation. The two of them only needed to be a little bit affectionate to have feelings for each other. Do you understand? When I said that, she used even more force. The car windows were instantly shattered like spider webs, the rearview mirror was smashed, and the hood was also dented in a large area. A good car now looked like it had just been pulled out of a junkyard, unrecognizable. After hitting hard, Lai Mongmong still didn't forget to find a good angle, fell face down in front of the car and started sobbing. After crying for a while, she ran back to the camera, looked up 45 degrees, her big eyes were sparkling with tears, her voice was soft. Mongmong didn't mean it. Today she got scolded by the teacher in class, so sad. Woo woo woo. Mengmeng is about to turn into a silly kitten. The Porsche driving brother probably won't blame Mengmeng, right? I got goosebumps listening to her, almost dropping my phone. But all her actions were clearly recorded on the phone in my hand, every single one. After returning to school, I went knocking on each dormitory door, telling each of them the story of Li Mengmeng. Li Mengmeng said she was going to marry into a rich family. That's right, she even deliberately smashed a Porsche parked on the side of the road, saying that this would give her a chance to meet the male lead. Don't you guys not believe it? What if she really is the female lead in the novel? Perhaps because the story was so bizarre, The news spread to every corner of the school in just one afternoon. There were even dozens of different versions of how Li Mingming used a brick to smash the car. Many people came to me and asked me questions like, was Li Mingming drunk that day? Or was her mind wrong that she crashed the car like that? I pretended to be surprised and answered firmly. How could that be? Li Mingming was completely sober at that time. She also said that after marrying the CEO, she would invite the whole school to drink to celebrate. She also said that it would be the kind of wine that we would never have the money to buy in our entire lives. Lai Mongmong had an innocent, pretty, and normal appearance, so there were already many boys chasing after her. But she always claimed to be pure and innocent, waiting for a legendary CEO, never loved anyone, had an extremely pure image, and was loved by many people. Everyone thought she was pure. How could she possibly smash someone else's car? The surveillance camera on that stretch of road was broken, and the only people passing by at that time were me and her. So she put all the blame on me. I confronted her, but she pretended to be pitiful and quickly denied the relationship. She even deliberately implied that I was a money-grubbing person who wanted to please the rich, so she smashed the car. I was accused of being a mistress called a gold digger, and had to pay a huge compensation. I tried to explain, but no one believed me. Even before she died, she still leaned in and smiled faintly into my ear. The supporting female cannon fodder was born to be the foil for the female lead like me. You just obediently be the pedestal so I can marry into a rich family. In this life I will do good PR for her. I deliberately cut out the clear moment of Lai Mongmong's face when she was smashing the car from the video, and posted it directly on my personal page. Followed by a sarcastic caption. Mongmong was scolded today, so she was so upset that she accidentally smashed her Porsche. She said the CEO would probably forgive her because he saw how pitiful she was. Then I wish you two a happy new year. I was the only one who witnessed Li Mingming smashing the car that day, which attracted quite a bit of attention. Such a post spread like wildfire. Immediately someone commented, if she really was a couple with the car owner, wouldn't she be a mistress? What if the car owner already had a wife? If the car owner's wife finds out and goes to her, her life will be over. Stay away from crazy girls like that. I looked at each comment that appeared, silently nodding in my heart. In this life, Li Mingming will never be able to hide the fact that she personally smashed the car. Even if she tries to blame it all on me, there will be countless people who will stand up and refute on my behalf. But before I could rejoice, a comment from Li Mingming popped up, and it was just as hot as my post. Xiaozhu, didn't you also smash the car with me that day? Why did you only mention me in the post? I immediately felt my heart tighten. Did Li Mingming feel that things were getting too big? Or was she afraid that the car owner really had a wife and that helping Meng marry the CEO would go up in smoke, so she wanted to drag me down with her? Before I could even refute on my friend's circle, Li Mingming had already pushed the door open and entered to sign the price. She intimately put her arm around me, rolled her eyes and pretended to be innocent. Xiaozhu, I just realized you only talk about me smashing cars, why don't you talk about yourself? I felt uncomfortable, and immediately pulled my hand out of her elbow. What do I have to say? It was clear that we both smashed cars that day. Li Mingming said smugly, as if it was true. I immediately stood up and protested. Mingming, you remembered wrong. You were the only one who smashed the car. I was just standing on the side filming the video. How could I smash the car while filming? Li Mingming pouted. Xiaozhu, what are you saying? We're best friends, of course we smashed the car together. Normally, the male protagonist in novels always has a close friend who is a doctor. I am willing to give that doctor to you. When the time comes, you will marry into a wealthy family. You must thank me. I frowned, not wanting to get involved with Lai Mongmong anymore, immediately reaching for the phone to clarify everything. But she was one step faster than me, using her shoulder to hit my arm. My arm hit the bed frame, the pain made me let go, the phone fell to the floor. The screen shattered like a spider web. Lai Mongmong used her foot to stomp on my phone mercilessly, until she was sure it was completely broken. I looked at her, my eyes darkened, and I immediately pushed her away. Are you crazy? You crushed my phone, what am I supposed to use? Truck, I was just joking, don't be so petty. I did it for your own good. Lai Mongmong smiled, her voice as sweet as sugar, pulling my hand and shaking it back and forth. We are about to get married, why do you still care about this old phone? That kind of wood chipper, I can tell my husband to buy you 100 of them. She looked at the broken phone that couldn't be used and said complacently, the important thing is that the video on your phone is gone too. Now everyone will think we both crashed the car. Don't worry, I won't abandon you. Before, I was a little scared of crashing a car alone, but now that you're with me, I'm not worried anymore. I clenched my fists. Lai Mongmong always thought she was the main female character in the story. Rainy Day, the domineering CEO, will love her. I still endure. She always mocks me in the dormitory, I don't care. But in the previous life after framing me, she didn't feel sorry at all, and even turned around and cursed me. The only difference between the female lead and I is our background. Why do you live a comfortable life with your parents transferring money regularly, while I have to split every penny to survive? I said you smashed the car, so you smashed the car, can you argue? Is there a house seizure? Does anyone believe you? The compensation for the car is several million, you can't pay it, your parents can't pay it either, I will drag your whole family down with me. Just like in the previous life. It was only because she was worried that everything would go wrong that Lai Mongmong came to me to share the trouble. But this time she miscalculated. Right after I smashed the car that day, I immediately backed up the video. The poor thing she brought upon herself, let her bear it. These past few days, Li Mingming has been living in a dream. She had to leave a good first impression on the CEO. So she put on countless layers of makeup every day. When it was time for her major class, Li Mingming brazenly put on a facial mask right on the table. And this class was taught by an older teacher who was very strict. Seeing this, he flew into a rage and scolded her for disrespecting the class. At first, Li Mingming only needed to say a few words of apology to be done. Who would have thought that she would have gotten into a heated argument with the teacher? She ordered, what about putting on a facial mask? My husband likes me like a little canary, beautiful every day, can you control me? You ugly old woman, I've been staring at you for a long time. Do you know who my husband is? He only needs to move his finger and you can lose your job. Be sensible and apologize to me. The whole class was stunned. No one expected Li Mingming to be this crazy. Just then there was a knock on the classroom door. She was still studying with an ugly expression, calling out her name. Li Mingming, go out for a moment. Li Mingming took off her mask. Her face was as arrogant as a peacock. She puffed out her chest and walked out of the classroom. When she passed by the teacher, she deliberately said provocative words. You old woman, my husband is here to pick me up. Just wait for me to be forced to apologize and fired. Not long after, from the next room, a heart-wrenching cry came. It wasn't me, I really didn't mean it. How could I have the money to come here in such large numbers? Brother, can you be a little more compassionate? Let me rest for a while. I heard from some class leaders there that the man who came to see her was the owner of Porsche, with fair skin and a bright face. He really had a bit of the demeanor of a male lead in a novel. When Li Mingming saw him, her eyes lit up, and she wriggled, trying to jump into his arms. She must have really thought that he was her destined son. Who would have thought that the other party would hate to tear her to pieces on the spot, let alone fall in love? Right there, he slapped Li Mingming across the face, coldly telling her to pay 3 million in compensation within a week. Hearing this, I burst out laughing. The Porsche owner is not a general, but a rich woman who supports him. Somehow he managed to marry her, but he has no say in the family. Normally, it's hard enough to get his wife to let him drive the Porsche out. Now that the car was smashed, how could he dare to go back and explain to his wife? It was already a blessing to keep his life, let alone be moved by a penniless Li Mingming. Just as I was feeling happy, the girl who was still studying knocked on the door and entered the classroom again. His eyes looked at me with complexity. You follow me out for a moment. I took my laptop and followed the dean into a conference room. As soon as she entered, Li Mingming's voice rang out, sounding agitated. Sir, believe me, the person who really smashed the car wasn't me, it was my roommate. She's the kind of girl who's greedy for money, so she intentionally smashed the car to get close to the rich guy. After saying that, she lowered her head and tried to look shyly at the car owner. I already advised her that two people should be together based on sincerity. Why did she use such dirty tricks? But she didn't listen to me. She stretched her slender white neck forward, her voice still sounding like she was about to cry. I really didn't mean it. Please don't make things difficult for her anymore. I'm willing to take on some of the responsibility for her. I stood by and opened my eyes. Unexpectedly, Lai Mongmong has such ability, speaking white to black as if it were true. With just a few sentences, she transformed herself into a pitiful and righteous white lotus. Not only did she not submit to power, she was also willing to take the blame for her friend, just like the female lead in a romance movie. The car owner was not interested in such an act. He slammed his hand on the table too loud. "I don't care who did it, just pay me. I just want money." Seeing me enter, Lai Mongmong immediately ran over and pulled my hand, winking repeatedly. "Chew truck, hurry up and admit it. You crashed the car, it's still too late to apologize." She leaned close to my hand and whispered softly, "The main male and female characters in love need a supporting female character. Don't worry, wait until I marry the CEO and then I will pull you out." I woke up laughing and pushed her away. "Are you crazy? If I don't smash the car, why should I turn back?" Lai Mongmong fell to the ground, her face full of pain, trying to squeeze out a few tears as if she was wronged. Her eyes immediately filled with tears, and her voice was also shy. "I'm sorry, I really can't advise my friend. It's all my fault for being useless." The academic advisor immediately went over to help Li Mengmeng up, turning to me with an unhappy look. There are some students who, if they did something wrong, should stand up and admit their mistakes. Don't blame your friends. Your friend knew you would accuse him, but he still tried to protect you. Don't you feel ashamed? I was so awake that I burst out laughing. Some of my classmates were clearly pointing fingers at me. When I was falsely accused, the first thing I did was to seek out my academic advisor. But because of some conflicts in the past, and my close relationship with Li Mengmeng, he only said that the school would investigate, and then quietly and perfunctorily handled the matter. I believed that the school would clear my name, believing that if I was innocent, I would not be wronged. As a result, I received a notice. I voluntarily withdrew from school. He said that I was a person of poor moral character, not worthy of continuing to stay at the school, and asked me to withdraw to avoid embarrassing the school. I tried to argue but missed the best time to explain, and ended up making everyone believe that I was the one who smashed the car. I was scolded as a fox, the 13th zodiac animal, and my poem was spread all over the internet. The car owner's wife came looking for me with a knife, and I ran everywhere to find my academic advisor for help. As a result, he slammed the door in my face. No matter how I knocked, it wouldn't open. In the end, I was stabbed to death right in front of the door. He was afraid of affecting the school's reputation, so he announced to the outside that I had fallen from a high floor to my death. I took a deep breath and said, "Since it's already this noisy, I might as well call the police." Before I could dial the number, the counselor quickly objected. "School matters should be resolved internally. I see the matter clearly. Some students do not know how to protect themselves and let their friends take the blame. If you still have a conscience, quickly apologize to your classmates and the car owner. Do not bother others anymore." Li Mengmeng glanced at me smugly. The only evidence that she was the one who smashed the car was in my phone, and that phone had been crushed by her. Now she has nothing to worry about. She has an advisor backing her up, ready to help her make a statement that I'm spreading false rumors. She'll be safe. As for me, I would once again be hung on a pole, spit upon by thousands of people. But this time things were different. I sent an order to help the room guard, dialed the number to call the police. Whether I was slandering or not, we will know when the police arrive. But without waiting for the results, it is clear that your educational career is probably over, counselor. The police arrived at the school shortly after. The results of the investigation were almost unsurprising. There was a full video recording of Li Mengmeng smashing the car on my computer. From beginning to end, I just stood there holding my phone and filming. This matter had nothing to do with me. The police played the video right in front of Li Mengmeng. Her eyes widened and she immediately rushed forward, wanting to smash the computer. Several policemen tried to hold her back, but she couldn't. Only when she was warned that destroying evidence was illegal did she calm down. "What? How did you get the video? And that bitch? She set me up on purpose. If she wasn't standing by the stream, why would I have smashed the car?" I crossed my arms and calmly replied. "She said I incited her. Do you have any evidence? I was the one who filmed it, but I'm not stupid enough to let my voice get into the recording." Not only did I not indulge her, I also advised her to stop while she was in the middle of smashing the car. However, my advice only made Lai Mongmong more agitated, and she smashed even more vigorously. She initially only intended to smash the car window, but in the end, she smashed the entire car, leaving no space untouched. Camera? There's a surveillance camera, right? Li Mengmeng, who was about to go crazy, finally remembered about the camera. You guys go check the camera at the intersection. I talked to her before I smashed the car. It is he who lusts after me. He is not innocent. He must take responsibility with me. But she forgot that the camera at the intersection that day was broken long ago. The only evidence left was the video I recorded. Li Mengmeng left the police station with trembling steps. Her family is just an ordinary family. If she wants to collect 300 million in a week, even if she sells her kidney, it won't be enough. Before leaving, I kindly reminded her. It's not like there's no way. The car belongs to the owner. No matter how much compensation he pays, it's still up to him to decide. Li Mengmeng's eyes immediately lit up with hope. She muttered, "That's right. If I can make him love me, I won't have to pay anymore. I'm the female lead. He's handsome and rich. He must be a CEO. We have met before. How can we not be a couple?" Li Mengmeng frantically chased after the car owner. The rope almost fell off. She looked like a heroine in a novel, stubbornly going against the flow of fate. "Sir, can I have a chat?" I returned to school. After 2 days of careful thought, I wrote a letter and sent it to the principal's mailbox. In the letter, I used my real name to accuse the school board of bias and of covering up for Li Mengmeng, who publicly defamed and slandered me. But the letter did not reach the principal's desk and was stopped by the school board on the way. He called me to his office and slammed the letter on the table in front of me. His face was full of pain and disappointment. "What are you trying to do? Children don't care about their studies but instead like to do things that divide the country. She is so young and already has such a heart. Who would dare to marry her in the future?" What surprised me was that Li Mengmeng was also in the office. Her condition was much better than the day before. Her skin was rosy, not at all like someone who was worried about a 300 million debt. Even had the energy to mock me. "Who knows, I see you bringing things to the old man downstairs lately. Maybe you found a rich old man. Going to bed with the old man. I wonder if you feel guilty towards your parents. If it were me who did such shameless things, I would have jumped off a building and died long ago." "Really?" I pretended to be confused. It seemed that someone who smashed a car and couldn't get along with a rich man and was still burdened with 300 million in debt should have jumped off a building first. Instead of worrying about how to pay off the debt, he was still here talking nonsense. I took the letter back from the table, raised it in front of the school administrator, and said coldly, "I had witnesses and video evidence for the matter of you blocking the letter in the middle of the road that day. At that time, neither you nor Li Mengmeng could escape." Looking at both of their faces pale as pig livers, I felt relieved. Just as I turned to leave, Lai Mongmong suddenly shouted from behind, "What an evil woman! I won't let you get your way. He and I are already married, and he's sending me home. You'll definitely get your revenge." I almost couldn't stand, almost burst out laughing. In my previous life, just because Li Mengmeng falsely accused me of sending a message to meet the car owner at the hotel, his wife found me and stabbed me dozens of times. In this life, Li Mengmeng has really cooked rice. Her ending will definitely be 100,000 times more tragic than mine back then. I was resting in the dormitory when the door to my room was suddenly pushed open by someone. Li Mengmeng, with disheveled hair, clean striped clothes, and some vague marks on her body, rushed straight into the room. She shouted loudly, "Close the door! Close the door! There's a madman chasing me from behind." I pretended not to hear clearly and asked loudly, "What? What did you say? I didn't hear clearly." "Close the door. I told you to close the door." I pulled the door open wide, intentionally standing at the exit, and opened my mouth to speak. "In broad daylight, why are you closing the door? Is there a ghost chasing you behind?" Lai Mongmong gritted her teeth in anger, but now she didn't have the energy to argue with me. She was alone, hurriedly hid in the wardrobe, not daring to breathe loudly. Immediately after, a woman with disheveled hair, holding a knife, walked into the room with a gloomy face as if she had come out of hell. I recognized her as the wife of the Porsche owner. In my previous life, she stabbed me more than a dozen times until I died in a pool of blood. She looked around the room and saw that I was alone, so she ordered a search. Where is that bitch who dared to seduce my husband? If she dared to steal my husband, don't expect to live. I pretended to be confused. I wasn't sure either, but it seemed like my roommate had just moved in. With just one hint, she started rummaging through the dormitory. Under the bed, under the blanket, in the closet, no place was left untouched. I took advantage of that moment to sneak out of the room and sneak into the crowd of students watching the excitement outside. Before long, Li Mengmeng was dragged out of the closet, her clothes torn, her face beaten to the point of being as bony as a pig's head. The car owner's wife was still not satisfied. She immediately raised her knife. A loud scream came from inside the room, making everyone who heard it angry. The classmates around pulled me, curiously asking. I pretended to be surprised and only said half of it vaguely. The car owner said that Li Mengmeng would need 3 million yuan in a week. How could we, as an ordinary family, have the money to come? I'm not sure either. Mengmeng said that as long as he loved her, he wouldn't need to come. But it seems like he already has a wife. Such ambiguous words further aroused everyone's curiosity. Before long, from a few gossips, people had put together enough stories, immediately labeling Lai Mengmeng as a mistress and a prostitute. Some people even enthusiastically compiled her actions into a PDF file and spread it all over the forums. In just a blink of an eye, Li Mengmeng became the focus of social media. In her previous life, she also used a few ambiguous sentences like that to ruin my reputation and make me die with my eyes open. At this moment, looking at the excited crowd, my fingertips trembled with emotion. In this life, it was her turn to taste the consequences of her poisonous words. What she had personally bestowed upon me years ago, she now had to repay me many times over. Li Mengmeng was chased by the car owner's wife from her dormitory to the school administrator's office. The school administrator opened the door for her to escape, but before she could close it, the two were immediately chased by the car owner's wife, stabbing and slashing each other. It is said that both had to be hospitalized. I don't know how Li Mengmeng begged, but in the end her life was spared. As for the school authorities who covered for her, after she was discharged from the hospital, they would definitely be investigated by the organization and dealt with according to regulations. I thought everything was finally over. As long as Li Mengmeng doesn't come to cause trouble again, I don't want to do anything to her. Living a new life, I understand the value of life even more clearly. I don't want to be drowned in hatred. I just want to live in peace and enjoy life. So I submitted an application to transfer dormitory rooms to the school early. But unexpectedly, Lai Mengmeng returned earlier than I expected. She limped in with eyes full of anger. When she saw me, she turned cold. Are you satisfied now? It was because of you that I accidentally broke the pot. If it weren't for you, nothing would have happened. I wouldn't have been fooled by that crazy woman. I'm the female lead in the novel. I should have been raised by the CEO in the mansion. You should be the one getting slashed. I sarcastically said. Accident? That means you accidentally found a brick on the side of the road, then accidentally chose the right pot among dozens of other cars, and finally accidentally swung the brick and hit the car. The female lead? You should quickly save up the money to pay for the car. If you can't pay, you'll have a criminal record. If I remember correctly, no male lead would marry a canary with a criminal record. Li Mengmeng blushed when I told her that, holding her stomach wound and panting. When she saw me dragging the suitcase, she became even angrier, shouting and hugging everyone. Where are you taking the suitcase? I ended up like this because of you. Why do you have the right to leave? If I had a roommate like you, I would have run away soon and waited to be beheaded. I pretended to be thoughtful, then came to my senses. But I was sure I wouldn't be beheaded because I didn't do anything to destroy other people's families like a beast. I didn't know what nerve I had stepped on in Li Mengmeng's side, but she panicked and rushed forward, hugging my suitcase tightly. I opened my phone and showed her the message. I had submitted my transfer request long ago, and it was approved by the school. Even if you don't agree, it won't change anything. I don't know why, but Lai Mengmeng suddenly knelt down at my feet, grabbed my hand and hesitantly opened her mouth. Truck, I know I was wrong. I've learned enough lessons. She squeezed my hand tighter, her eyes still filled with tears. I just got back from the hospital, and my family hasn't arrived yet. Can you stay and take care of me? I know you're a good person, just help me this one more time. You won't have the heart to refuse such a small thing, right? I know you are not a petty person. I was stunned by Lai Mongmong's sudden change of expression. How could a person change their emotional state so quickly? She took advantage of the moment when I was stunned to open the door wide, sat down on the floor and cried bitterly. "Tu truck, I beg you, please spare me. If you also change rooms, I will have no way to live. The other 2 roommates aren't close to me, they definitely won't take care of me. Now you're the only one I can rely on." She was wearing a white dress, kneeling beside me, her bandages still on after being discharged from the hospital, looking extremely pitiful. Outside the hallway, a few students started to peek out, pointing and gossiping. "Why are you kneeling like that? You must have just come back from the hospital. If no one takes care of you like this, it would be a pity. We are in the same room, seeing someone kneeling doesn't move you at all. Even though Li Mengmeng is at fault, she is willing to kneel like that. If I just move rooms like that, I'm afraid I'll be branded as heartless and meaningless. Okay, if you want me to stay, then I'll stay." I took a deep breath and dragged my suitcase back into the room. As soon as the door closed, Li Mengmeng let out a sigh of relief. She pulled my hand and shook it back and forth. "Tu truck, I knew you loved me the most. Without you, I really don't know what to do." In the middle of the night, I was sleeping when I suddenly felt a figure standing in front of me, then quickly pressing down on me. The back of my head hit the bedboard hard, and a sharp pain immediately came. I wanted to open my mouth to call for help, but my mouth and nose were immediately covered. Immediately after, I heard Li Mengmeng's voice from afar. "She is my roommate, very rich. You guys can not only sell her, but also blackmail her family for a large sum of money." The sharp blade was pressed against my throat. A man warned me not to make a sound and then used a rope to tie my hands and feet. Lai Mongmong, unable to pay the debt, smashed her Porsche and sold me to pay off the debt. I gritted my teeth in anger and tried to scream, but the sound was stuck in my throat. A man pulled me off the bed and kicked me hard in the side. The pain made me curl up, tears welling up. In my delirium, I vaguely thought that if Lai Mongmong had been a little more sensible, stayed away from me, and obediently paid her debt, maybe her life could have turned around. Unfortunately, she was too stupid. When I opened my eyes again, I was rescued by the police and taken to the hospital. As soon as I discovered that a stranger had entered the room, I immediately called the police. I struggled, but only to stall for time until the police arrived. Outsiders would gather in the school and assault a female student. This incident was serious and the police took it very seriously. Soon everything was investigated clearly. Because Li Mengmeng was pressured to pay her debt and had no money, she had malicious intentions towards me. She took money from some thugs and planned to sell me to them. But before she could take me away, the police came and arrested me in the act. I refused to settle the case and spent money to hire the best lawyer to pursue the case to the end. Lai Mongmong was sentenced and sent to prison. Her dream of becoming a novel's female protagonist was completely shattered. Even when she was sent to prison, she still screamed that she was the female protagonist, that there would be a turning point, that she would be planted and used by force to get out. She also threatened that I and the police should prepare for the consequences. I heard that she was locked up with some violent criminals and was even beaten by the prison guards. I wonder if her heroine dream can continue after those few slaps? As for the academic assistant who covered for her after the school meeting, he was dismissed and expelled from the school, no longer having the chance to attack the students he didn't like. All that has happened has gradually faded into the past. As for me, I am still on the road ahead, a road that will only get better and better. Li Mengmeng's life ended in a prison. My life has just begun. That's it. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Don't forget to like and subscribe to hear more interesting stories. Goodbye and see you again.